In the morning, I had a lesson with Yulia, with my teacher.
Okay.
Well, we prepared some things to a job interview.
Okay.
Well, I'm aimed to it, and we try to make a repetition, maybe.
Okay. So, are there any questions that you are afraid of?
Well, I'm afraid of the whole of situation of the whole of interview, but of course there are some questions that are difficult for me. For example, why should we hire you? It's a usual question actually, but still it's sometimes hard to pick up the really main points of what should you stress and emphasize, like that.
Okay, but are you ready to say something good about yourself? About your previous work experience, about your talents, about your achievements?
Well, I hope so.
Because, you know, not all people are ready to say really something good about themselves because, you know, they feel not comfortable, maybe a little bit confused. Can I ask you now about your previous work? What have you done? What was good in that?
Well,
what are your results and achievements?
Well, actually, 5 years I spent working in a gaming business. I mean, game industry. I was a part of publishing team. We published different games for different platforms: PC, mobile, even consoles. And I worked as a product manager the last, I guess, 3 years. Yeah, and my focus was mobile industry. Well, I am. Are you here?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Something stuck. Well, and I guess that I'm a really high qualified manager because I've never had some problems with dealing with releasing the project in time and in a good quality. I'm really good in multitasking because I had about 15, I guess, yeah, 15 projects in work at the same time, and I had to juggle tasks, and I really like to do that and to succeed in this. So that's why I think that I have a good chance to proceed and to carry on my career.
Okay, tell me please, what position would you like to apply now?
Well, I would like, of course, to apply for a product management position in a related sphere, in maybe some e-commerce or gaming company as well. But I'm open to some new opportunities, for example, to move to a marketing position because it's a closed maybe sphere to a product management, and this is a new sphere to maybe to develop myself, to get some new skills. Because, you know, working in publishing means that your department demands money.
Yeah.
But working in marketing, you earn money, and that's a good point. And I would like to be a part of it.
Yeah, why not? Tell me, please, as far as I understand, the interview will be in English, right?
Yeah.
And if you do not understand something, I mean, some words or maybe the accent, will you be confused? What do you think?
Well, I guess I would be confused, but there is no problem to ask, to paraphrase, maybe to, well, nothing is bad maybe to ask and to say that you don't understand because you are not a native speaker so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, sometimes, for example, as far as I know, in Moscow, some employers like to give you a really hard time. I mean, to put you in a situation of a stress interview. Can you expect something like that abroad?
Well, I really don't expect, but of course I know that some interviews like some stress kind of interview to ask you some inappropriate questions. Well, I guess I will deal with it.
So you are quite, you can manage the stress, right? You are not at a loss. You can put yourself together and work it out.
Well, I hope so.
You hope so. Okay, good. And do you have some interviews appointed already or not yet?
Well, not yet. I sent some resumes, some cover letters, and I'm waiting for the result.
Okay, I see. So today you can relax a little bit. We are not going to speak about work, maybe just a little bit in some questions. Just listen to my questions and answer as many details and as many opinions and views that you have. Okay? So I would like us to start speaking about English, a little bit English and Russian actually in comparison. So I would like to know your opinion about the question like that. Which is more difficult to learn, English or Russian, and why?
Well, I guess that the Russian language is more complicated, and I'm lucky that this is my mother tongue, and I don't have to learn it from the very beginning, because the grammar is a really complicated thing, even for Russian speakers. We have, I guess, the common problem that people are having a lot of mistakes during their written speech.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and we perceive all those grammar rules as something usual. We live with it, and for Englishmen maybe it would be more complicated, because a lot of exclusions from their rights, and you have to just remember them. On the other hand, English have more complicated tenses, 16 instead of 3, and that's also hard to learn for Russians, for example. Well, that's it.
Do you remember the first time when you heard English speech, and do you remember your feelings and emotions about that? Or you were too small?
Well, I guess I was too small to reflect about this.
Yeah. But anyway, you studied it at school, right?
Yes.
So did you have mark 5 in English?
Well, I did get mark 5, but still I don't feel that I'm ready to get a 5.
Okay, but you know, at school it's not really difficult to get 5. Once you open your mouth and say something, they put you 5 immediately. Yeah, this is how it works.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
you know, in my school and in my class there was a problem, and I understood it when I came to university, that we have a lot of written tasks, but tests, but too small oral speech, and that's why when I came to the university, it was a real problem for me about a month to speak, to understand, and I even had a conflict with the English teacher. She could not understand why do I keep silence. And, it took time to get in touch with her.
Okay,
but
I see.
Now it's okay.
Do you remember the time when you felt absolutely free to speak? Do you remember that feeling? I think it's really precious when you learn a language, when suddenly you feel that you open your mouth and the words just come out easily without any obstacles.
Well, to be honest, I don't feel that I am fluent.
You do not feel it?
Huh?
You still do not feel it?
Yeah, I still do not feel it. But
anyway, you can speak quite easily now, don't you see that?
Well, in comparison with other people, I don't feel like I'm a fluent speaker, and I sometimes really it's sometimes hard for me to express my feeling, to find a proper word, and sometimes I even forget a simple word to say that. I don't know why. So
can I ask you how much English practice do you have on a daily basis? How much of English do you have every day? In any kind of form, in a written form, in a reading form, I don't know, in a speaking?
Well, as for speaking, just no more than an hour a day, I guess. As for reading, about 1 or 2 hours, and listening about an hour, I guess so. Well, I try to watch some movies, some serials, or maybe YouTube videos.
So do you remember the first contact with a foreigner, with a person who from another country who also can speak English? Have you ever had such a contact?
Yeah, I've had some contacts, and the first one was our intern in our company. We invited some intern from ISEC, And they just get an internship in our company, and some of them were hired then. And the first guy was from Poland. He did not speak Russian, but he understood it. Well, and he was the first one to whom I speak English. After him, there were about 4 or 5 more interns from different countries, and it was a useful experience for me, for sure.
And a person of which nationality was really difficult to understand? Do you remember such cases?
Well, people from Asian countries sometimes speak unclearly, but recently I've met a girl from China. She speaks so clear and so perfect English, and I guess that her English is a bit American one. I don't know why, but she speaks just clear for me, absolutely. And
yes, it's such an exception. Yes, really. We should put her in a museum, I think, because usually Asian people, they speak like birds, you know? You cannot even distinguish if it's a language or if it's a singing or something like that. Yeah, I understand. Tell me, please, how many methods or ways of learning English you have had in your life? You have tried?
Well, you mean speaking or reading or?
No. I mean, I don't know, individual lessons, face-to-face, maybe some group courses. Now you learn English via Skype. So how many methods have you used to learn English?
I worked in groups, just like a speaking club and a bit of grammar lessons. And this is my first experience teaching face-to-face via Skype. Well, individual.
Okay, so what do you think about that? It's interesting because it's something new, and you know, usually people are a little bit afraid. They're afraid of all these technologies coming into our life deeper and deeper. What do you think?
Well, I'm not afraid of technologies, maybe because I worked for such a company that uses every day and it's common for us. Well, of course, there are some drawbacks. For example, internet breaks and it could stop your lesson. For example, today in the morning, I've got one break for about 5 minutes and I didn't know what to do because my lessons is going and I have nothing to do with it. But still, this is convenient because you have to, you can choose a proper time. You can just sitting at home and speaking to another person, and that's very convenient for both of us, I guess. Well, but speaking within a group is well, more interactive lesson. I like this because sometimes it's not enough to speak just one colleague or one person or just a teacher. You have to listen to other opinions and to argue maybe. And of course, if you are alone in a group in one room, not via Skype, it's easier to interact because here in Hangouts, for example, yesterday we tried to talk to each other, 8 people, and via Hangouts, it's very hard because you don't see to whom you speak right now. For example, Tatiana asked me something and I didn't realize that she asked me. Well, and you have to speak turn by turn, one by one, because you don't do it simultaneously as in the real life.
But you know, I can tell you one little secret. I can reveal it for you just a little bit. Don't tell it to anybody, please. Now we are working and we are trying to find a platform. I mean, something online, not Hangouts, of course, because it doesn't give us a chance to work interactively, as you said. But now we, I guess we have found another platform, and maybe soon we will have a kind of group lessons, but online. And it will give you a chance to speak to your opponents, to participants, and I guess it will work just like a real, you know, class. I mean, when we can see each other, but actually we do not need to go anywhere. We can still stay in our houses, in our pajamas or whatever you like to wear during the class. Yes, and I guess we are moving to that, and maybe soon we will have such a chance, and you will be like participants for sure, because you are our students. You will be the first to try.
Yeah,
and I'm very glad. Yeah, and I'm very glad about that, and actually I'm super excited because it's something really new, and we would like to try it, you know, because it's amazing, I would say. we will see how it will work. Okay, I would like to ask you one more question about your friends. Can you please pick up one person who is really close to you and tell me a little bit about this person?
Oh. Mm. Well, let it be one of our friends that is common for me and my husband. It's his best friend. He was I don't know how to say this person who is a witness of your wedding.
Oh, he was his best man.
Best man, yeah.
You want to say дружок, like we say it in Russia, yeah?
Yeah.
Best man, yeah.
I consider him as a spectacular person. He's very nice. He always ready to help. He got a real great sense of humor. I've never met such a person before, and even for now, well, he's the best one in this sense. And well, I don't know why, but it's very easy for us to communicate. We never stuck in the silence. We've got every time we've got a lot of things to discuss, and it's really fun to hang out together.
Okay, tell me please, where is he now? Where does he live?
Well, he lives in Novosibirsk.
Oh, and how do you keep in touch? Well, because you are so far from each other.
Well, via social networks, via Skype. Well, I have to.
Do you sometimes argue?
Well, of course, we do argue sometimes. I think that is inevitable part of our lives. Well, some conflicts are really needed to develop our relationships and to find out who we are, to maybe make a proof of our friendship.
Yeah, why not? I agree with you. How much time, how long have you known him?
I know him for about 7 years, or maybe 8. Quite a long time.
Yeah, can you tell me a little story how you met? Do you remember your first meeting?
It's hard to say when we first met. You know, even my best friends, I mean girls, we are friends since my and her child school, but we both tried to remember what was our first meeting and we failed. Well, but still, I know Anton, who I was talking about 5 minutes ago. I've met him because of my husband. That's why I can suppose that we've met somewhere in a cafe.
Okay. And well, you do not
introduce me to him.
Now you do not remember your first impression of this person.
Well, I remember that he was very calm for me because I am, you know, a bit energetic, bristle with ideas sometimes, and so nervous. And he was absolutely calm and smiling. Well, quite an opposite for me. But still, it was interesting. I knew that he is the best friend of my boyfriend for that time, and I was really pleased to meet such a person and maybe to see that I made a good choice. If I like his friend, I would for sure get in touch with that guy for a long time.
Yeah, sure. And I would like you, it's a very tricky question, I would say. I want you to tell me one thing that you are better at than this guy.
Oh, what
yeah. I guess the person about who we can compare you both is your husband, yes. I think.
Maybe. Well, I'm taking into account my temper. I'm more quick in making decisions, in making friendship with someone else, with some new people. I'm more fast to react. maybe I'm better than Anton in this case. So sometimes it gets a lot of time for him to write a proper SMS or to make a greeting for someone, to prepare a present, to find it. He spends a lot of time to do this, and for me, it's more easy.
Okay, it's easier.
It's easy, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. We move to the next question. The question is, are people today luckier than 50 years ago?
Well, taking into account all new technologies, they are maybe more lucky in the sense of reaching other people, communicating to them. There are a lot of ways to speak to each other and to communicate to each other right away. A lot of opportunities to share your pictures, for example, your videos. For example, we moved to another country and still we have great opportunities to communicate to our friends, to share our emotions, our impressions, and it's really good. But on the other hand, people 50 years ago were maybe more happier because they got a lot of personal meetings, and all those social networks and all those Skypes, phones, they make us more distant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And impersonal. This communication tends to be impersonal. You just put a smiley, but you don't see the smile, and you don't feel that this is sincere. Well, 50 years ago, it was really more open.
Yes, I agree with you. And now when you live abroad, do you feel a lack of real emotions and feelings?
Well, I really do, because I feel a lack of communication here. There are a lot of more friendly people than in Russia, to be honest, but still they are friendly, but they are foreign, they are different, and they don't want to keep in touch with you in the sense of friendship. They just communicate, talking about, well, making small talks, speaking about this or that, but not some deep or important things for you. It's not from the heart. It's just well, social talking, and that's
just politeness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's polite.
They just need to be polite. Yes, I understand you. So, and do you think that in future you will find some really good friends who are foreigners?
Well, why not? But still, I haven't met such a person with whom I would like to carry on communication on their friendship basis. And sometimes it's hard for you to accept their habits. You know, they are really strange for you. Well, for example, for the first month,
what do you mean? Yeah.
For the first month here, we lived in a corporate flat that my husband's company provided for us for the first time, and it was like a campus maybe, because about 2 or 3 people lived there, and it was this Chinese girl who speaks perfect English, and 2 British guys. Well, I mean the couple. When we first met, I find them very nice, such a cool guys, such a pretty, smiley, cheerful. But when you live in the same house and see what do they do, it's so strange. Well, even some hygienic habits are awful for you because you are not used to it, and it's okay for them, for example.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is the connection okay? Yeah, something is not okay again. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Well, it's stuck, but still hear you.
Yeah. I would like you to compare your life in this place where you live now and your life in the Russian city where you used to live before. Can you do that?
Well, I would start from the weather, because it was shocked me when I came here. I expected it to be much warmer when in Novosibirsk, because you know everybody thinks that Siberia is a very cold place where you
You know, I'm sorry for interrupting, but recently I had a talk with an Egyptian manager of a very big hotel chain, and he told me, you know, this Siberia, it's a country. I said, what? He said, yeah, it's a country. It's a very cold country. You know, when girls, especially girls, come from there and they say, yeah, it's so cold. I said, it's not a country. It's a part of Russia. Do you understand that? He said, no, no. And then again, when I was in Spain, all these guys, you know, I mean, the local people, they say, Siberia, it's very cold, I say, no, Russia and Siberia, for them it's the same. And I tried to explain that, you know, no, it's different. Our country is absolutely, you know, it's huge. And the time zones, yes, and the climate zones are really different. For example, I live in the south, and really the weather in Spain and in my city is more or less the same. But they could not believe that the temperature can go really up. They say, no, Siberia, cold, cold. And it was so funny, really. And this is what you are talking about, actually.
Yeah. Of course, there are sometimes minus 30, minus 40 even, but still, we've got different kind of climate, and it's not cold all the time. And when I came here, I suppose that at least spring here is something bright and green and, well, spectacular, but still, it was so gloomy and rainy all the time. All the March, it was such an awful weather. I was shocked. But now it's more or less okay. It's sunny, sometimes rain, but still it's warm.
How many degrees do you have?
About 20.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Well, actually, I monitor from time to time the weather in Novosibirsk, and it is the same now. Just the greenery here. It's greener here, but still not quite a big difference.
Okay.
Well, of course, winter in Novosibirsk is much more beautiful because of snow. Here, I guess snow is a rare thing.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of pictures of our forest. I live nearby. And, you know, when the temperature changes drastically, it becomes... well, snow sticks on the trees, and they're white, and it's very beautiful. Sometimes I open those pictures and have a nostalgia.
Yeah, I understand you. You feel homesick.
Yeah, I feel homesick.
A little bit.
But still, there are some advantages of living here. For example, public transport works ideally. It's hard to believe because in Novosibirsk there is a problem with that. There are a lot of traffic jams. You can't reach city center from, for example, my place, Akademgorodok, for about an hour because of traffic jams. Well, still here you can reach any part of Berlin just in an hour. Although the city is large. Very large.
What else? What else can we mention in comparison?
Embarrassing here.
For example, tell me about the infrastructure. Can you compare that?
Well, it's hard to compare because maybe I don't face a lot of учреждения.
Sorry? Institutions, you want to say?
Institutions, yeah. Well, for example, bureaucracy system here is even worse than in Novosibirsk because maybe Germans are very strict and formal, and they want to do everything turn by turn. And for example, to be registered in some citizenship office, you have to make a so-called termin, to apply for the visit in advance, for example, for about a month ahead. And it's crazy because officially you have only 2 weeks to be registered here. And the problem is they don't speak English here in such institutions. Well, that's the problem.
Can I ask you, is it really necessary to speak German to go there? I mean, to move there for permanent?
Well, as for Berlin, you don't have to speak German actually, because here are a lot of international companies and a lot of people really do speak English. But if you have to make a residence here for a, not temporarily, but for a permanent time, you have to pass exams for a particular level of German.
But it needn't be really high level. It's something average.
Well,
right?
it is average, yeah. B1.
Okay, B1, I see. It's not really bad. You can reach it, I think, after some time, because you are living there and you can practice your language every day, and I guess it really works, and it will work, and it will help you to get such level really quickly. Okay, we move to a next question, and actually I think it's good to have you here because you work in games industry and you can answer this question. Do you think that video games are better time spending than watching TV?
Such a tricky question. Well, on the other hand, video games are very different. You can choose any genre and any kind of game. I mean that